Can you imagine what my life has been without you? The level of my despair? Do you know what it's like to wake up without you there? How I face the day? You're better off. I've been told, better off without you. I search every room for you. There is not a moment when I don't look for you, long for the smell of you, don't wish for you, don't miss you. I love you. The accusations I bear, the doubts, the snide, yeah, sure, as if I've been seeing you, sneaking, snivelling behind closed doors, gasping greedily at you, sucking you up through every pore. You're no good, they say. You'll harm me, they say. They tell me to leave you, to have nothing to do with you, to keep away from you, that you're poison. As if it would be easy to be without you. As if I could get on with my life, move on, have no regrets. I yearn for you. Each breath I take is sorry and sad, like a lad when all the girls are dying for a dance tell him no. I see you dancing on the lips of others. I look, and mostly I don't mind. Don't flinch, don't bat an eye. I enjoy their enjoyment of you. I like what they do. Reminds me of when we were together and how well we looked, how well suited, kind of suave, kind of cool, kind of like in control. I too held you close, took you in, swallowed you galloping down. I too breathed too much of you, suffocated, grew short of breath, felt your fingertips squeeze the life from me. Time and time again I broke your grip, only to return quietly, secretly, batting my eyelids, going all coy, flirting with you, remembering only the tenderness. There have been times, long periods, I haven't given you a thought. You were there across the table from me and I thought nothing of you. You were no part of me. You were of no significance to me. Then, out of nowhere, for no apparent reason, there you are in my thoughts deep, like you're akin to me, like we share the same blood. And then I go where you might be, forget friends who have nothing to do with you, pick up with those who do, who might share you, might lend you to me for the night. I can't talk, I half listen to conversations, so enamoured I am by you and you. You look gorgeous, you look alive. I can't keep my eyes off you. Fuck it, I want you back. We'll work it out. If it's no one's business but ours. You're everything to me. They don't understand how much I love you. So what? It gets nasty sometimes. So what? That's my fucking business. We'll take it slow, you know. No pressure. Nothing full on. Just see how we go. I'm not taking you home with me. No way am I travelling down that path again. Well, rarely. Sometimes I might. When I can't bear the sound of my key in my door. And God, it's hot then. You love me so deeply. You go everywhere. We have some bloody wild times together, that's for sure. But in the morning, I throw you out. Fuck off, I tell you. Get out of my life. You're sour in my mouth. The smell of you repulses me. You've bruised me. When you've gone, I lie in bed and I think of you. I imagine you're there with me. Oh, God, I miss you.
Oh, dear. I feel as though I'm at my first 12-step meeting. Like I should start. My name is Jennifer Spry, and I'm addicted to a substance. There, I've said it. And I'm glad I've said it. Pardon? Contrition? Forget it. I am going to sing the praises of my drug. My drug is so wonderful that even the side effects are wonderful. In fact, the side effects are so wonderful, I'm sometimes not sure which are the main effects and which are the side effects. I even know when it all started. I popped my first pill on the 5th of November 1990 and have never looked back. Like most pills, they're a bit disgusting if you think about them too much. I was told once that these ones are made from the urine of pregnant mares. Anyway, I crave this drug in any form I can get it. Usually it comes in a blister pack. In America, I used to be able to get them double strength in a screw-top jar of 100. I'm told it can be given by injection too. The psychological effect is supposed to be more dramatic until the body works through the initial high dose. But I'm scared of needles and can't be bothered with the hassle of a regular visit to get my hit. Pills will do for me. The chemist knows that I'm an addict, and what the condition is too, I suspect. No one can dispense such high levels of a drug without knowing the physical changes it will induce. Occasionally I do get a young pharmacist though who, when I get a prescription filled, looks surprised and says, two strengths of the one pill? I just nod and say yes. As I take the packets over to pay for them, I can feel her eyes on my back. You need to be impervious to social opinion when you're addicted. I have a tame doctor too. I don't even need to go and see her anymore. Just a phone call to a receptionist and out comes the prescription in the mail. For me, the beauty of this drug is that it smashed my old lethargic life and spun it into a kaleidoscope of possibilities. I never knew how wonderful the world could be until I went on it. This drug is mind-enhancing, body-altering, and for me, life-fulfilling. This drug is the best thing since my life began. Not for what it has done so much, but for how it allows me to live in public. It has allowed my body to change and fit within the parameters that society currently mandates as acceptable for a woman. And it's not even illegal. It's a prescription drug. It's sold in Australia under the brand name Premarin. Generically, it's known as estrogen. But let me go back to when I first started popping estrogen in 1990. Arranging for that initial prescription was as soul-destroying as waking up from a dream of being naked on a tram, to find it isn't a dream. First, I had to find the local medical network that judged the suitability of requests like mine. Then, while knowing that I was sane, I had to convince this group of professionals that I met their criteria for the treatment of a psychiatric condition they called gender dysphoria. Something society had told me was worse than being gay or lesbian, and I was that too. But I didn't tell the doctors because it was their aim to make sure that I would become a perfect woman. And perfect women, they thought, made love to men. I sat demurely, answered their intrusive questions politely, laughed at their jokes, metaphorically fluttered my eyelids as alluringly as I could, and, thankfully, won. It took me over 3 months of these meetings to get the prescription. When I finally got my hands on that first bottle of pills with its child-proof screw-top lid, I was so excited that I didn't even wait to get home. I sat in the front seat of my car and popped the first ones right there in public, right outside the East Thetford, Vermont pharmacy, just across the road from the local primary school. Kids, mothers, dogs, people everywhere. I didn't worry. I was on my way. The physical results were slow in coming. In fact, the changes were so gradual, I didn't even feel them arriving. After about 3 weeks, though, I could see that my breasts were developing. Then, gradually, my body fat redistributed itself a bit, and my body hair stopped growing. It all took a couple of years to reach a point where I was no longer seeing any real changes. Now, to remember how I used to look, I have to dig out the old photo albums. The emotional changes, though, were beyond anything I had ever experienced. My defence to being transgendered had been to train myself not to show or feel emotion, as I believed that if I showed emotion, everyone would guess my secret. Consequently, my unused emotions just wizened up atrophied like unpicked fruit on a tree. During my first months on the pill, however, my emotions blossomed out and swung between laughter and tears like a pendulum, and I enjoyed trying out both extremes and all between. Sometimes I danced around the room singing, sometimes broke down in tears so long and deep that when I finally finished, every tissue in the house was a wet and crumpled gush on the floor, and every handkerchief was a sodden ball at my feet. I would be so drained that I could hardly raise myself from the couch. But as I lay there with the effect of my newfound emotion draining away, I would feel so wonderful, so cleansed, so, I just want to do that again. Thankfully, these new emotions soon settled down to a manageable level, just like those of most people. I'm still happy to give a free rein to the new upside of my emotions, but if I try to constrict the tears for any length of time, the uncontrollable crying happens again. There was one memorable time, about 4 years ago, when I suppressed them for 5 months while I was organising the publicity for a major international convention. On the last day, I started falling apart. Someone would ask a simple question, and I would turn away with tears welling up. A word of congratulation caused a lump in my throat that stopped me from replying. After the last guest had left and only a few of the staff were around, I collapsed in tears. If this had happened before I went on my drug, I would have just gone off and got quietly drunk until I fell asleep in some toilet cubicle, or under a table until the feeling had passed. This time, however, I escaped to the relative privacy of my car and had a total crying fit. Luckily, there was a cure, which I'd been unaware of until then. One of my co-workers evidently knew it, though. She came up to me, and as I inhaled for another sob, she French kissed me full on my open mouth. The result was instantaneous. I melted within that one kiss. Talk about shock therapy. The crying dissolved in an instant, and I went straight to ecstatic bliss. The power of one kiss from a lesbian. Once I had to come off the drug. My doctor told me before I had the operation. I was off it for about 3 weeks, and the withdrawal was awful. I would wake up in the night with hot sweats. My breasts started to shrink. I became distressed and fearful. As soon as I could, I went back on it, and I planned never to stop again. The experience was too dreadful. I guess if I'd lasted through the withdrawal period, though, I would have reverted to my old self. A self of denial, lying, and emotional mummification. A self my old family and friends considered the normal me, the person they wanted me to be. A person I was quite fond of, but whom I never really loved. You see, like most people, my family would rather not have someone around who's been so obviously affected by drugs. As my father said to me, it's too hard to explain to one's friends. So here I am, unrepentantly addicted, proud, and living happily ever after. Thank you.